What is going on? Welcome to this week's episode of the Second of Strength podcast. Wherever you're at, grateful you're here, grateful you're spending your valuable seconds with me. I believe that every second you have the power to change your life. And I hope that this episode gives you a couple of those nuggets, a couple of those things that you can think about to help you change your life, to move forward in your goals, move forward in what you want to accomplish, become the best version of you, whether you are a teenager. I know a lot of parents have shared this podcast with their teenagers, whether you're a teen, whether you're a parent, whether you are an entrepreneur, a momtrepreneur, whoever you are, this episode is for you, because at the end of the day, doing this one thing is going to impact the rest of your life and make all the difference in your life. So, and before we do that, if you have not left a rating for this show, it would really help me a ton. If you've ever gotten any value of it, anything I've ever shared, of anything I've ever done, if you could leave a rating for the show, it'd really help me out a ton. But today we're going to talk a little bit about distraction. I believe that distraction is the enemy of action. If you eliminate distraction in your life, eliminating distractions in your life that are limiting your actions will make all the difference in your life. The problem is that in today's world, if we are not intentional with our time, intentional at eliminating distractions, then we will always be unintentionally distraction, because we are just, as human beings, not equipped to handle all the things that are coming our way. We are very much, one track mind, single focus type of people. A lot of people will talk about multitasking. Multitasking is not true. And I know a lot of, including my wife, a lot of people would say, no, we can multitask, and the fact of the matter is you can't. You switch tasks, you go from one task to the other, to the other, to the other, but we don't really multitask. We can't really do multiple things at the same time. And similar to a computer. A computer, if you ever your computer's ever going slow and you're like, what's going on with this system, with this process? If you ever go to the task manager and look and there's 1,000 things open, your computer actually switches between all of those things, which is what slows down your computer, which slows down everything and bogs it down. So it's switching from one thing to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other, and doing it in such a quick way that it seems like everything on your computer is running at one time. But the fact of the matter is that it's not. It is switching. And so think about yourself. Think about yourself as this incredible hard drive, this incredible machine that you are, and you can't multitask either. You're switching from one thing to another, to another, to another. It's why, I'm notorious for this, but I always have a lot of things open on my computer. I'm not very good at closing things out, and it's because there's so many things going on but it forces me, or I unintentionally forces me to jump from one thing to the other. And when I do that, I get anxious. When I do that, I get frustrated. And when I do that, I realize I'm not really accomplishing anything that I really want to accomplish. I'm just doing bits and pieces of lots of things. And I think that one of the biggest challenges that we have today is that the biggest thing standing between where you are now and what matters most, whatever your goal, whatever your dream, whatever you want, are the things that don't matter at all. I'll say that again. The thing that is standing between you and what matters most is all the things that don't matter at all, but are distracting us from our real purpose, from our real passion, from what we really want to accomplish in our life. It's interesting as we think about this. There's a study that said that with students, and specifically with social media, but there's a study that said with students and social media, they switch from whatever they're doing, whatever they're focusing on, to social media after about 6 minutes of focused work. And what we know from research is that it takes 23 minutes of focus to get in that flow state, to get in that state of mind where you are just moving and going and accomplishing the things that you want to accomplish. And it just makes me wonder, and this isn't just about teenagers, right? Even though teenagers are very distracted by social media, but it's also with adults. It's also with us. And think about your own habits. Think about the time and the energy and the focus and what's drawing your focus and what's your attention and how much time and how often we're switching over to social media. But what does that say about us if it takes 23 minutes to focus and get in that flow state of work, of purposeful, meaningful work, but we are switching to social media every 6 minutes? What that is actually saying is that we are never in the actual flow state to accomplish what we really want to accomplish unless We are eliminating the distractions. But a couple of crazy statistics. I just want you to just hear these statistics and think about these statistics and think about the distraction that these phones are and these devices in our lives. One study said that teenagers check their phones every 5 minutes. Another study said that Americans check their phones 144 times a day. Another study said that the average user of a phone touches their phone, this number will blow your mind, touches their phone 2,617 times a day. And that's any touch, right? Any swipe, any movement, whatever and that's the average user. Heavy users, it said, were over 5,000 touches a day. And you think about that. You think about how often we are touching our phones, and and then even more studies. Nearly half the phone usage includes, when you pick up your phone and you start using it, nearly half include more than one app. And 25 is opening more than 3 apps. So you think about that, right? So you pick up your phone. Maybe you're picking up your phone for a purpose, for a reason. Maybe that purpose is checking social media, but maybe that purpose is checking your email. Maybe that purpose is checking the weather. Maybe that, whatever your purpose is, you have a single focus of what you need to be doing. And then studies show that almost half of your touches of your phone don't include just one. It means you went to maybe your purpose, but a lot of times we go to check our weather and we end up scrolling social media and doing all these things. And then like 5 minutes later, we're like, what am I doing on my phone? Oh yeah, I was checking my phone. I was checking weather. So a lot of times we are going to all these apps and we're checking things, but we're not really accomplishing what we want to accomplish. And the question is, why is this happening? Why is this? What is going on? And the reality is that I believe this comes down to need. Need is the key. What are your needs? What matters most? And a lot of times those needs are outside of us, and sometimes those needs are inside of us. And so if you think about the outside, well, everybody really wants your attention. If you think about the apps on the phone, you think about your friends, you think about all the people who are trying to get in touch with you through the distraction that is your phone, well, that need is calling to you and making you need or want to check your phone. Maybe you heard a notification. Maybe you got a text message. Maybe something pinged you, whatever that is, but you feel the need to go and check that in that moment. The other thing is internal. So we have these internal needs, and what it comes down to is really this dopamine that's saying, hey, remember a few minutes ago, literally 5 minutes ago, when you checked your phone and you got a couple of likes or a couple of comments, remember how good that felt? You got a reward for that. It felt pretty good in your brain. Let's do that again. And so you have this internal need to get more dopamine. Dopamine is the reward chemical. There, you get rewarded, and dopamine and the social media targets that dopamine, targets the emotional response in your brain. And so you're feeling that desire to get that dopamine drip or that reward chemical. It's the same if you accomplish a task, if you make your bed in the morning, if you start a workout or finish a workout, whatever that is, you are getting rewarded for doing something. And so that's why that feels good. And then we feel like we want to accomplish that again. So we start creating a habit because it feels good. It feels good to make our bed every morning. And then all of a sudden we make our bed every day because we know we checked a box. Well, the same thing happens on social media, except it happens through likes and comments and all these things. And so it's this cheap dopamine drip that makes you want to check your phone over and over and over again. And that's distraction. And what happens is as we get more invested in our phones, we start trading instant gratification for the things that really matter most. And so if you think about focusing on a task, maybe it's a work task, maybe it's a school task, maybe it's an assignment, whatever it is, well, that is your goal. That is what you need to get done. The reality is to accomplish that, it takes time, effort, and energy that doesn't give you that good feeling until you make progress or you're almost done with it. And so we trade off the work that we're doing to accomplish that goal for instant gratification, to feel good right now. I'd rather feel good now than accomplish what I want to accomplish later. But so to solve this problem, and again, I said at the beginning of this, I said that eliminating distraction is the key to to action. If you want to accomplish and living a life of satisfaction, eliminating distraction is the key to action, which leads to a life of satisfaction. That's what it is. But to do this, we need to place a higher need goal above the dopamine, the cheap dopamine that is drawing our attention to our phones. And so what that looks like is we've got to uncover and recognize what is our why, what is our purpose, what is our passion, and we've got to make it the most important thing. And we need to conscientiously think about, in that moment of struggle, in that moment of wanting to pick up our phone, we've got to recognize why, what matters most, and decide in that moment to continue on the path towards what matters most instead of retreating back to instant gratification found on our phones. And so we have to set a higher need goal. So that is the first thing. What matters most? Define that in your life and choose that is going to take precedent over anything else. It's kind of like procrastination. So if you procrastinate something, you've got an assignment that needs to get done, or you've got, job or work or whatever, you've got something, you've got something that you need to do, and you procrastinate. Well, you're procrastinating because your dopamine, you want that cheap thrill in that moment. So you sacrifice accomplishing what you need to accomplish for feeling good now. But what happens is interesting. When that deadline approaches, the deadline gets closer and closer and closer, your need state changes, and you recognize that you have to get this thing done in the next 20, 30, 40 minutes, whatever it is. And when you do that, all of those other things, the things that are distracting you from what matters most, they fall away because you recognize that your higher need is getting this assignment done now. And so you are able to singularly focus on what matters most, that higher need goal, because you've procrastinated too long. Well, I would love you to switch that and create these call them fake deadlines, but create these deadlines in your mind that push you to not procrastinate until a later date, but push you to get the things done. And that might mean that you need to put your phone away and get it out of sight, out of mind, but that will help you push forward and eliminate or avoid the distraction that is keeping you from this life of satisfaction. So that is the first thing. Let's establish our higher need goals. What matters most to you? Why? What is your why? What is your purpose? What is it that you cannot fail at? And are you willing to push for those things every single moment of every single day? So that's the first thing. The second thing is we've got to have a plan. If you're not planning, then we are leaving everything up to chance, really. And so does your day have a plan? I mentioned the other day I was struggling with my morning workout. I work out every single day. The alarm goes off. I do it before the kids go to school because that's just my habit. It's what I've done, and it makes me feel good to accomplish that and make sure I've checked those boxes in the day. So, but the other day I was really struggling with motivation, and I was like, why am I struggling so bad today? Of all days, what is going on? Why am I struggling? And I realized that it was because I didn't have a plan. Usually what happens, I set my clothes out the night before, and I know the next morning I am going to work out this muscle group, or I'm going to run, or I'm going to walk, or do legs, or whatever it is. I know exactly what I'm going to do. And on this particular morning, I realized that I had no plan. I came down, I got up, I got ready, I did everything, and I came down and I just sat there because I didn't know what I was going to do. And the reality is if we plan to fail, then if we fail to plan, then we plan to fail. That is the simple truth of it. And the fastest way to fail or come up short is to not have a plan for success. And so what happens is when we don't have a plan for success, we are opening up the possibility of distraction, keeping us from anything that matters most because we don't know our direction. We don't know where we're going. We're just floating. And when we are just floating, or we go with the flow, then we'll never end up where we really want to go. And so that is the second thing. Create a plan, have a plan every single day. If it's morning workouts, then know what you're going to do the next day and it will help you stay motivated. If it is, your work or your school or whatever that may be for the day, well, create a plan, before you even start your day, right? Know the things that you need to accomplish and give yourself deadlines on those things, and it will help you move towards your goal and keep you from allowing distraction to limit the actions that will lead to your success. So I hope that makes sense. The third thing is we've got to stop allowing our phone to control us instead of us controlling our phone. I think too often, because our phone is right next to us, and if your phone is right next to you, obviously you're probably listening to it right now, but if your phone is sitting next to you on your desk or at your table or on the counter or in the chair or wherever it is, that dopamine, that instant gratification will draw your attention to the phone and will force you to pick up your phone. Well, we've got to stop sacrificing what we want now. We've got to stop sacrificing what we want most for what we want now. We've got to stop allowing instant gratification to rule and control our life every single day, instead of us hitting the pillow at night and recognizing that the day went how I wanted the day to go because I was in control of my life. I was in control of my habits. I was in control of the distractions that were trying to keep me from everything else, because everything on your phone is for somebody else. Everything on your phone isn't a goal that you need to accomplish. It's that somebody else is trying to draw your attention to what matters most to them. And so that is the third thing. And then the fourth thing is we've got to stop allowing our mind to wander too much. And this is really hard, but I think that what happens is when we allow our mind to just aimlessly wander, that is when we open the door to instant gratification and distraction. And so a lot of this ties back to the things that we've said. We want to establish higher needs goal. We want to create a plan. We want to stop allowing instant gratification to rule over our life. But what we really need to do is that when we set direction in our life, then we are eliminating the opportunity for distraction to take us off course. And so when we set direction, we stop allowing mind wandering to control us, that's when we will win. That's when the best version of us, the best, most successful, the focused version that can accomplish literally anything, that's when it will come out. And mind wandering happens. Mind wandering is one of those things that we daydream, it happens, all these thoughts, like we are thinking all the time. And it's normal. It's normal to be thinking all the time. However, are we going to, when we feel like our mind is wandering, are we going to come back and refocus and recenter, or are we going to allow it take us places that we don't know where we're going? That's the difference. And so when we talk about our 1 second of strength, that's the name of the podcast. I believe in any of these instances, you have the power in 1 second of strength to choose the response that is going to get you closer to your dreams, get you closer to your goals. If it is mind wandering and you feel like your mind is shifting, you feel like your mind is wandering, recognize it, understand where you're at, and then shift back to where you need to be doing and what you need to be doing. If your mind is wandering a lot, then take a break. Make it intentional. I'm going to go do this for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to come spend the next 30 minutes intensely focused on what I need to accomplish. But that's how we don't allow mind wandering to control us, but we control it instead. So I hope that helps you today. Look, I just believe that you have so much potential to overcome the things that are keeping you from happiness, from your goals, from the person you want to become, and accomplishing the things you want to accomplish. Whatever matters most to you is within your reach. But we have to stop letting distraction limit our actions. We have to stop letting distractions keep us from a life of satisfaction. And when we do that, it will make literally all the difference in your life. So I hope this helps you. Share this with someone else. Look, I think that if these episodes have helped you, I asked earlier to leave a rating, but if they help you, just share it, send it to somebody, send it in a text message, send it in an email, share it on your social media stories, tag me at Real Tanner Clark, and I'll give you a shout out and share what you shared. But I just appreciate you. I appreciate you being here every day. I appreciate you using your valuable seconds to listen to this podcast. And I hope that it empowers you to use your seconds, your next second, the way that will change your life. So I hope it helps. Wherever you're at, I'll leave you the same way I always leave you. Go find your 1 second of strength. eliminate distractions, get rid of all the things that are holding you back. Go find that 1 second of strength and be happy.